Hey, Shalom, I'm back. Just making a comeback on the video that I recently put up regarding birthdays. I went into a little bit of where the Negroes stem from. And I'm going to elaborate on it because of brother had told me to go in a little bit deeper on it. So here's a book that I brought out earlier. This is Germany and the Black Diaspora. And Points of Contact 1250 to 1940, edited by Misha Honeck, Martin Klimt, and Ann Coleman. I'm going to jump over to page 145, and I went over this before. Notice it says Ethiopian race. Then it says male skulls. So this so-called Ethiopian race it's talking about, which, you know, from the Ethiopian race you got Jews who they call Falashas, right? And these are lost Jews that now have been accredited for being Jews. But the Ethiopian race is more than just that, right? First and foremost, we know that Ham had 4 sons, which was Cush, Ham, Canaan, and then Put. So other than Cush, the name is Ethiopia. All right, so let's go over here. I just want to show you some of the specimens that they use to call Ethiopians. Notice it says the names of the different tribes. And then it starts out with number 1. It says Ibos, Negro of Congo. Died at Sierra Leone. Again, these are specimens that the Europeans were using to measure their skulls. All right, crania, meaning skulls. So I'm just going to run through this real quick regarding the list of all these Negroes who lived or dwelt in West Africa that they're calling Ethiopian. And so you should have some kind of understanding when you read certain books that this is what they called us instead of calling us Negro. It says Old Caffrey, Negro, Ibos, Negro, native of Madagascar, which is an island on the east side of Africa. Then it says Negro of Luango, Hottentots, Negro of Guinea, what is that, Bourgeois man, which I believe are, what do they call those little guys? Not midgets, what do they call them? They're out the Congo. Pygmy, those are Pygmy Jews, Bourgeois, I believe. Negro of North America, Caffrey, Negro 11 years old, Negro of Suriname, Shanti Negroes, Bourgeois, Angola, which is North Africa, Mozambique, Guinea, Caraco, which is Brazil, Cherubon. It even has, where is it? Negro of North America, which came from West Africa. So just so you know, and just so you see, and look at all the institutions of Europe that they were doing these studies, and you probably could find these same institutions still to this day, and they got records of all these things, of their experiments. It even gets into the female skulls. And look what it says: by these tables it is clear that the cavum crania of Negro women is smaller than that of the men. Consequently, they have an absolutely smaller brain, like the European women. So no different, but they treated us like animals in the 16th and the 17th century. Right? Let me read one more thing. This is page 144, and I wanted to read this because Thomas Jefferson has his hand written all over it. Tiedemann lambasted thinkers and statesmen, including Thomas Jefferson, who argued that the natural inferiority of the intellectual and moral faculties of Negroes excused slavery. He reasoned that all the negative traits associated with Africans, irrationality, viciousness, perversity, treachery, faithlessness, childishness, and savagery appeared only among those degraded by slavery, and extended this reasoning to West Africa. or West Africans. He stated that their original good character had been corrupted and ruined by the horrors of the slave trade, since they have unfortunately become acquainted with what? Europeans. The introduction of brandy and other spirits, liquor, and the immorality, dissipation, cruelty, rapacity, and fraud of the slave traders have made the Negroes indolent, cunning, dissolute, and thievish. In other words, as Tiedemann stated emphatically while noting that the abolition in the slave trade brought industry of the people of the coast. The slave trade was solely responsible for the degradations of the Africans. Yet it brought industry to the Europeans. We didn't do it for employment, trust me. We were indentured slaves. Chattel slavery is what it was. But going back to this chart where it says Ethiopian race and he gives a list of all these people, I'm going to go in further detail to explain using a map. Okay, and with the map that I'm going to use, I'm going to go to this book, Lost Tribes, A Myth. Now this book is going for about $10,000. This is a copy. But the original book is going for, I believe it's $12,000 at this point. So our history is in this book. $12,000, can you imagine that? Library of Biblical Studies, edited by Harry M. Orlinsky. Now this book is different from that original book because this is a book of scholars. And basically they use this book to break down this book, The Lost Tribes of Myth. Even this book is hard to get. Suggestions towards rewriting Hebrew history. Alan H. Gabi, Ph.D., Morris Epstein. Now I'm going to jump over to this map. And remember, we just saw a chart that listed Ethiopian Negroes who are in West Africa. This chart, or this map, says the Manoan Philistines, which are Hamites. And then it says here, Yemen Jews, and Falashas, Berber, Moorish, and Negro Jews. Today is July 21st, and Yemen just got bombed by the Israelis. All right, which lets you know that we are really close to the end, because they are reaping havoc on the world. John 10:10. All right, the thief cometh to steal, to kill, and to do what? Rob. So the thief is in the earth, and this is what they're doing. But this is a map. It says the names in red in the northern Sahara are oases, in which some Berber Judaism survives. It is estimated about 15,000 Jews are scattered through the interior. Other names in red are places of ancient Jewish colonies. In some cases, an appropriate date of settlement is added. So this is talking about Africa. And it's saying that there were colonies of Jews all over Africa. We'll start here at the bottom. Luanda Jews. You see that? Now we spoke of that in the chart, Luanda Jews. Let me see if I can find it in the chart. We have Luango Jews. That's another one in this chart. Let's see, did they say Luanda? Okay, they did not say Luanda, but we see that there's Luanda Jews. All right, Luango, Luanda. You have Mavumba Jews. You have Mavumba Jews in the area of near Cameroon. You have San Tome Jews. Gabon, all right? Madagascar is on this side. And let's see, on this side you have Hud, you have Deborah, Laban, Tabiban Jews, which is next to Somalia. There's the Gulf of Aden, Abyssinia. You have Yahwism Jews. All through here you have Jews. There's Sheba. And you have Jews in that area of Arabia. Elephatine Jews. Abdos Jews. I'm kind of just surfing through here because it's in small writing. I'm trying to get the blunt of what you need to see here. You got the Minoan colonies. We're up north now. There's Israel, 800 BC. Now this is way before the Portuguese insurrection where they had Jews sent from Portugal to West Africa. This is way before. Okay? So I know they try to change the narrative. When they write their books, they try to say that those Portuguese Jews were Caucasian that they sent to West Africa and North Africa. But that's a lie. They were actually black Jews. I've read a couple of their books and they just lie. These are Berber Jews. There's Berber Jews up north near Libya. There's the Atlas Mountains. There's Algiers. More Jews. Carthage Jews. Carthage Jews were black. I know Denzel Washington was thinking about playing Hannibal, but he actually did a rope-a-dope on everybody and turned around and did a Gladiator movie. They all thought he was going to do a Hannibal movie, and he said that Hannibal was black, and he got a whole lot of flack from it. But people don't do their research. The area of Carthage were black Jews. It got overran by the Romans, right? Later on down the line, and the Romans end up possessing that land. But prior to the Romans, there were black Jews there. And that's what people don't understand. Okay? All through here, I mean, there's so much writing in here that I can't even make out a lot of it. Philistine, which were probably Philistines, because you remember the Egyptians and the Philistines were also scattered. Ben Musa. Where am I at? Let me back out here. Let me back out some here. Beni Musa, which means son of Moses. Medieval Jewish kingdom of Kanuri, Jewish kingdom of Ganata, Lamlam, once a Jewish colony, Timbuktu, Daguetan and Philistum, Gayo and Gogo, which is also a language of Africans. It says White Libyan dynasty founded among the Negro Sahara or Sanre about 620 AD by Zail Yemeni. The name suggests Yemenite. I mean, that's enough on that, but we know that the Arabs and the Muslims came in and they had a slave trade that went on. But prior to even the Arabs, we had Jews that dwelt in Africa. Colonies of Jews. Levite cities, you see that? Hassa. Now the Hassas were very, very intelligent. Very intelligent agriculture and the medical field, so forth. B'nai Ephraim. See that? I mean, it's just infiltrated by Jews all over Africa, and people don't even know that. Ashanti Jews, we saw that in the chart. So in this chart, we see Caraco. So there's black Jews in Brazil, which are Native American, indigenous Indian, and Negro mixed together in Brazil. We have Negro Guinea, and don't forget over in Sierra Leone, on the east side of Africa. This is almost like Native Americans, Native American Indian looking people. Wavy hair, straight hair, dark skin, light skin, all through this area. People tend to forget that. All right. So all through here, we have Israelites. Not to mention Arabia, India, all over Israel we had dark-skinned Israelites. But 70 AD is when we all fled into this area, into Africa. All right, just so you know, it says here, Jewish kingdom of Granada, founded 200 AD. See that? Then it says white Libyan Berbers. The kingdom occupied the great lowland connecting the coastal caravan route with the upper Niger. Jews were on the coast in Philo's time. 22 Berber Jewish kings reigned here before the Hagara Barth. 44 had reigned by 790 AD when the dynasty was overthrown. At Lamland, 200 miles west of Timbuktu, a Jewish trade oasis persisted till 1076 AD. I got another book on that. I got a lot of books that I've never brought out that talks about Israelites in Africa. I just won't bring them out because I know it ain't just our people watching YouTube. We got enemies watching us on YouTube. So I'm careful in what I bring out. It's kind of like everything's in time capsules. So bring out enough for that time or for that season until the next season. All right. Now, being that I'm bringing this out, let me go here to this book. Let's go to this book. I just stopped showing dates, man. Just know that all these books are older than 1900. They're preferably in the 1800s. Most of these books that I'm showing you. This is a tribute, The Negro by Wilson Armistead. Okay, let me just show it to you real quick. This was published in 1848. Most of these books are older than dirt. All right, most of these books are published by European scholars, European explorers, European professors, and that's why I bring it out, so you can see that it's them telling the story about us that them telling the story about us that they no longer tell. It was only for white eyes only. So here's page 65. We'll go to page 65 and we'll drop down and it says, a remarkable fact in the history of Luango in the Empire of Congo is that the country, according to a statement which was fully credited by Oldendorp, himself a writer of most correct judgment and of unimpeachable veracity, contains many Jews settled in it. Page 66. Who retain their religious rights and the distinct habits which keep them isolated from other nations. Though this separate from the African population, they are black and resemble the other Negroes in every respect as to physical character. Why is this? These are the Negroes that came from Europe. Right? They were sent here due to the insurrection, or not the insurrection, the Inquisition. The Inquisition out of Portugal and Spain, out of the Iberian Peninsula. And even some from Italy came into these areas in England and the Netherlands. It says it is probably in allusion to this case that Pennington in his textbook says the descendants of a colony of Jews originally from Judea settled on the coast of Africa are black. So the Jews from Portugal met up with their brothers who came from Jerusalem. M. Rosette declares, that there are many Negroes in the Algerine country, whether they have doubtless been brought from the interior of Sudan, and very probably from Hassa, I mentioned the Hassa, who are of a jet black color, but with truly Roman countenances. All right, so now we know that this is pretty accurate. All right, and why are we going here? Because we saw this chart and it said Ethiopian race. And we see here Yemen Jews and Falashas, Berber, Moorish, and Negro Jews. And that speaks on all these tribes who are all in West Africa. Those of the slave trade that are in America are from these tribes. So those who went into the Americas were Israelites. I don't know if I really should show you this book because a lot of people don't know how to extrapolate, and they read things for face value instead of looking within the lines. Now this is a book on Black Haiti, a biography of Africa's eldest daughter by Blair Niles. This book was published, or illustrations copyrighted in 1925. Page 113. Page 113. There's 112. I'm on page 113. Sir Spencer and the Congo Beans on page 113. It reads this, what I haven't highlighted, yellow. It says the slaves imported from Africa had come from the Gold Coast, the Ivory Coast, the coast of Angola, because a lot of people today think that those who dwell in Angola are all white, are all Caucasian. But we were cast out of that country. We were put in, a lot of our people who were the major percentage of the population of Angola have been sent into slavery. And so a new people have moved into that land, Angola. And it says here, in the slave coast, all the way from the Gulf of Guinea to the Cape of Good Hope. They represented most of the tribes of that dark and mysterious continent. Some were said to be descendants of Jews mixed with Negroes. Now, you should understand now when it says descendants of Jews mixed with Negroes, it's talking about the black Jews who came from Portugal and was put in the Isles of St. Thomas and Wida, put in these areas for the Portuguese. They mingled with the Negroes, whom they've derived from the beginning, which are their own people, their own nation. Even though they varied in customs, they were all Jews. It says, these were tall, well-built men whose features had a Caucasian cast and whose language was clearly Semitic in character. So this is what I meant by extrapolating. A lot of people see that Caucasian and think that these people that were brought into West Africa were Caucasian. No, they were black. Okay? This is a misinterpretation. I'm going to bring out one more book. This is called I'm going to bring out one more book. This book is called A Book of the Beginnings by Gerald Massey. Volume 2, Egyptian Origins in the Hebrew, Akkadian, Assyrian, and Mari. This book was published in 1881. So, going back to the chart, listen to what this author says. We are on page 429. And we're going to drop down to here. It says the same. it says the same writer also mentioned the Judeans, who were a nation of western Ethiopians from Judas, who descended from Canaan. Now, why does it say descended from Canaan? Because Abraham dwelt amongst the Chaldeans. Abraham, again, dwelt amongst the Chaldeans, who were what? Canaanites. All right? Jacob and Esau were warned not to marry a Canaanite woman. So, yeah, they descended from the Canaan areas, the areas of the Canaanites. The fourth son of Ham. Judas, one of two sons. I'll read that again. Judas, one of two sons, is evidently identical with the Judah of the tradition reported by Plutarch and Tacitus, who with his brother Hierosolamus headed as Exodus from Egypt into Palestine, settled in Judea, and founded the city of Jerusalem. So that says a lot. My camera's about to run out, so I'm going to stop right here. Shalom. Hope this was a blessing to you.